Mm. Hello everyone, my name is Ravish and I talk philosophy, and in this video I'm going to talk about the moral philosophy of Immanuel Kant. And you must understand that morality was one of the core philosophical concept of Immanuel Kant, and it's also my favorite domain of philosophy. I'm very much inspired by the ethics and morality. So even my own philosophical ideas are based upon these particular domain. So let's begin, and it's going to be very interesting, so stick with me. Kant say that the act, the Kant would argue that to act morally is to exercise freedom, and the only way fully exercise freedom is to act morally. So we are a human being. The Kant argues that all human beings are rational beings, and our action always aims at some sort of end products, end results, and there is some sort of end goal. And do remember this point, because the entire philosophy of Immanuel Kant is based upon the end result, the end goal. So in this video I am going to talk about his particular work, the groundwork of metaphysics of morality, and in this work Kant introduces us the two important philosophical terms, one which is hypothetical imperative and the other one is categorical imperative. And he says that categorical imperative is the most important thing to be a moral human. In order to be a moral human being, you require these categorical imperative, and it is based on a priori judgment, which we already talked about in our previous video. What is a priori, right? So sorry about the train, actually I live near railway station. So anyway, let's say what is hypothetical imperative. So hypothetical imperative is a conditional, and let's understand why it is a conditional and how it is conditional. So let's understand with an example. If I say that I must study to pass the exam, so there is a conditional form. In order to pass the exam I have to study. If I don't study I won't pass the exam, and that is the problem that Kant says. The Kant argues that this cannot be a hypothetical, this argument cannot be a hypothetical imperative, because it fails to apply the virtue of willing some end. There is no willingness at the end, but there is a desire at the end. So Kant would say that that willing and end involves more than desiring. So the end result should be not only based on desire, but it should be based on what we will, what we want. What is the willingness of a particular person. That is the purest, the form of being any rational human. So this is what Kant would argue. And in this particular example, let's say if I study, like if I must study to pass the exam. So in this particular statement, there is no willingness. No, it's just a desire that at the end we desire that I have to pass the exam. I have desire to pass the exam, whether I study or not, whether I study hard or whether I study whether I simply don't study at all, and but we desire to pass the exam, right? So in this form, desire becomes the most important thing. But that is the problem that Kant says. It cannot be a rationally hypothetical imperative. So the Kant would argue that desiring some end would thus not be a hypothetical imperative or practical rational in Kant's sense, which I have already mentioned. So so because of that, Kant came up with two ideas. The two basic distinctions between between two kinds of hypothetical imperatives, and the one he calls the problematic imperative, and the other one he calls ahistoric. So what is problematic? Let's take another example. For instance, if I say that I need to drink coffee, so I must go to the coffee shop. So you see, there is a condition. In order to drink a coffee, I have to go to the coffee shop, right? So you see, in this particular statement, the will of a particular human is not that strong as compared to the desire of getting that coffee. So the Kant would say that this is a problematic statement. The Kant would argue. So there is another thing that can happen is that can happen in hypothetical imperative is that we do it for happiness. Anything a human being does for happiness. Like for instance, in here the will doesn't apply, or even the will applies even if we are willing to do it, even if we are not willing to do it, but the end result is happiness. Like for instance, if I say that I want to steal because it makes me happy, that is not a morally right, is it? Right. So but there is a there is a desire there to stealing, and there is a happiness that comes after stealing. So this makes this creates another problem, that Kant says that hypothetical imperative is not possible, because if you go through hypothetical imperatives, then we cannot be a fully rational human being. So what can we do to be a fully rational human being? Then Kant would say that in order to be a fully rational human being, one must exercise categorical imperative. And what is categorical imperative? And then there is a categorical imperative, that is Kant says that it is based on a priori judgment, which is based on the on unconditionally requirement that must be obeyed by each and every human being. And for this, Kant gives 3 arguments, which we will talk about in our next video, which will come tomorrow, which is a part 2 video of this morality. Till then, take care, and if you like this video, then please do subscribe and share with your friends, whoever wants to know more about philosophy or about Immanuel Kant. We will talk about about Nietzsche, about Kierkegaard, about Spinoza, about many philosophers here on this platform. So take care, bye bye, see you in the next video.